Welcome to our workshop. Next 2 hours, we will talk about Angular Dart, as Evgeny already said. And first of all, I'd like to introduce our team. Three guys, me as a speaker. My name is Pavel. I will tell you something interesting, I hope, about Angular. And our two mentors, Maxim Titov and Igor Zubov. The guys work at Wrike as front-end developers, and guys take members of our mentor team for our front-end developers, our internal mentor team. And today they will help us to conduct this webinar. And the rule is when you have a question, you please feel free to write into the question box, and Maxim or Igor will try to help you. I think we can start. First of all, please check chat box, please. And I hope that everyone have already configured our application. If not, please go to this link to our GitHub and visit Wrike Angular workshop. It looks this way. And please check it out and try to run it. And let me get back to the presentation. Some words about the workshop. First of all, about timing. All time is get in Central European time, so now is 1 p.m. Now we'll have some welcome section from Evgeny, from me, and very soon we will start code. We will have today 12 steps. I think about 5 or 10 minutes to explain something for me, and about 5 minutes, I think, to code for you, and repeat, and repeat 12 times. We will have a break at 2:30 in about 1.5 hours. 15 minutes break, and then one more section, last 6 steps, and we are going to finish at 4:30. Hope it's okay. And one more time, if you have any question, please write it to the chat, to our question box, and invite our mentors, Maxim and Igor, to help you, and hope it will be okay. A few words about the plan. Today we will take a look to a pretty simple Angular application. We are going to become familiar with Angular, with Dart, and if everyone have already any experience with Angular, maybe, or maybe with Dart, I hope it still would be interesting for you. The first step, of course, a short overview what is Angular itself and why do we use Angular. Why do we use Angular Dart? Second step is a pretty simple Hello World application. We will try to run it. It's a 0 step from our GitHub repository. And next, we will try to create a simple component, interactions for the component. We will have a child component, a parent component, and make some interaction for them. We'll take a look to the component lifecycle. How does it look? Take a look to dependency injection basics, mostly into the not into the concept, but as how does it work in Angular, and pretty simple backend interaction. I have a little JSON, and we will try to make a GET request for this JSON and to show the contents in our application. And the last step is advanced dependency injection. We will try to play around with providers and take a look how does it work in Angular. So there's a plan. I think we will take a break after, I think, step 5 maybe, and we will try to finish in time. So as a result, all of you will get basic Angular application with a simple component hierarchy, with interactions. You will be able to make a HTTP request using Angular and try how does dependency injection work. And let's go. The first step is, why do we use Angular? Why do we use Angular Dart? Let me deep dive into it. And one more time, if you have any question, please use our question box. Thanks those of you who have already used it. Thank you guys, and let's go. Why Angular? Why Angular Dart? Let me start from these slides. I think all of you know that there are really a lot of frameworks, of front-end frameworks nowadays, and maybe the most popular ones are Angular, React, and Vue. Short overview of them. You know that Angular appeared about 10 years ago. It was developed, it is developing by Google. It is not so lightweight. It's about 500 kilobytes, and mostly it's used in enterprise application. I think it provides a complex infrastructure. It provides an a complex solution to make the front-end application without any additional frameworks. React appeared 7 years ago in 2013. It's developed by Facebook, and you can use React for Vue part and mix it with whatever you want. And React is also very popular. I think maybe much more popular even than Angular. So okay, and the next one is Vue.js. Maybe some of you have already tried it. It's community-based framework. It's very simple, also very flexible and lightweight. All these frameworks and million of others worked very fine, but today, we will focus on Angular as a framework for big enterprise application that provides really a lot of things out of the box. In Wrike, we use Angular, but not Angular itself, but Angular Dart. And the next slide is about what is the Angular itself. The very first version of Angular, called Angular 1, appeared in 2010. It was written in JavaScript. It's called it's called AngularJS, also called Angular 1, and still are many companies that use AngularJS, Angular 1. But now, not now, a few years ago, in 2016, when Angular 2 was released in TypeScript, it became a very popular framework. Now it's called Angular 2 Plus, like Angular 1 and Angular 2 Plus, and last version is Angular 9 for now. And a separate branch, separate implementation in Dart language is Angular Dart framework. It appeared in 2017. For now, last version is Angular 5, and it is not so widely used in industry, but the whole Google AdWords application is written using Angular Dart, for example, and also we in Wrike also use Angular Dart as our main framework, as our main language. So I think that's enough, and let's try to do something with Angular Dart. The last thing here, it's really good that we already have some application in our GitHub, but how to start with Dart Angular or with Dart if I don't have anything, don't have any pre-configured project? There are three ways. The first one, I think maybe most popular, is stagehand. This thing is something like a project generator tool for Dart. You can generate simple console application, Angular application, and even simple something like games. I think a little application with graphics, with animations, and something like that. So please take a look into this link. I will send a link to the presentation, to the slides, to the chat in a few minutes. And you can visit it. Second one is a starter app for Angular Dart. If you type Angular Dart in Google, you will find this link. It's a classic tour of heroes written in Angular Dart. You can start from it. And of course, our repo for this workshop, please also check it out and try to start with it. So let's go live and let's take a look how does a pretty simple application like Hello World, how does it look at Angular. Let me open it and yep, I'd like to send a link for you. Hope that you'll have access and everything will be okay. So the simple application looks like this. We want this application to look like this. Hello Angular, and that's enough. Let's open Inspector and see what's inside. Really about nothing, just body, some tag called my application, and hello Angular. That's it. Let's take a look how does it work. This is it. This is it. As for me as a front-end developer, I think the entry point is of course index HTML, and this is the main thing I'd like to start to investigate how could this work.
Sorry,
yep.
Could I please ask you, maybe it's just me, but maybe increase the font size a little bit?
A little bit like this, maybe?
Oh, it's too much. Yeah, it's
Too much.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Yep. If you have any problems, guys, please let me know. I will try to do something. Okay. So it's our index HTML file. We have a body, we have my application, and we have some magic that put hello Angular into my application. Let's deep dive into it and take a look to the whole structure. The main thing here, I think, this is this script main.js. You see that we don't have exactly this script here, but we have something like main Dart. Dart is not included to web page as is. We have to compile it to JavaScript, and that's why that we include .js file. But basically, as a developer, we work exactly with main Dart, and we have the one thing here is void main. If anybody is already familiar with Dart, you know that every Dart project, Dart model have to contain this function void main. It's an entry point for our application, and if I would try to type something like dart main dart to run the script. It will find the void main and run and execute instruction inside this this method. So it's our entry point, and the only thing that is done here is run application from Angular package, and we pass a link to the app component to this method, to the run application. That's the magic. That's the magic. And as a developer, we really have to know just what is inside app component, what's here. Let's take a look to app component, and as you can see, it's pretty simple. It contains a template, a class, a component annotation, and what is it? Let's try to find out what it. Every component in Angular is just a class. It's just class. If some of you are familiar with object-oriented programming, you know that what's a class? It's a kind of abstraction for a group of objects, and in this case, we also have classes, and we have an annotation provided by Angular. This annotation actually contains really a lot of fields. You can see it here, such as selectors, exports, providers, and so on, styles, templates, directives. We'll face some of them today, but for now, let's take a look just for two: selector, my app, and template. Some of you, I think, already know that my app selector can be found here, my app. And the template h1 and hello name, hello Angular is here. I think it's a really basic thing, but I think we have to talk about it, and let's go. It's the first step in our today workshop, and I'd like you to pay attention to our branches inside our repository. We have 12 steps, we have 12 branches, and now we are going to go to step 1. And for those of you who are not able to code live with me, you can always check out this branch and be up to date with us. So, okay, the first thing I would like to try is to move this inline template to a separate file. Let's call it app component HTML. App component HTML. It works. Actually, it works if we have inline template, but it's hard to manage with it, and I think all of you would agree that separate templates are much better. And then I have to specify template URL here and a path relative to this component. So it will be app component HTML. Hello name. Let's add here from separate template to check if it works. Okay. And great. That's the first step for us. Now we have a separate template. We have a separate component class, and we are ready to work with it. Let's check out to the first step. And the main thing here is to try how to render some value like text maybe here in our component. Let's take a look how will it work. This will work this way. We have text here, and let's go back to the code. Every time we'll try to bind something in our template, we have to call any field of our class. For example, if app component have a string field called text that contains hello.angular, maybe hello guys, welcome to our workshop, something like this. It would be binded to our bindings, to this one and this one. And this is exactly the way how to render something from our business logic layer to our view layer. This is how to link component with a template. Just use feeder braces for binding a text and square braces for binding some parameters here. And the next step, it's a second step for us, is let's take a look how does how we as developer can handle any change from our template. For example, I'd like to type something in input, and when input value change, I'd like to change my field in my component and store new value to the name and render new value in our template. So let's do something like this. Let's go back to step one. And that's the last thing, and before the short break for you to do the same. I hope you are up to date with me, and it would not be a problem to do the same. So let me do that. I'd like to subscribe to change event here, and I'd like to, sorry, I would like to increase the font. Handle input change, handle input change, and I want my component to really handle input change and update this value with new value from user input. So the pretty simple thing I have to do is to specify a parameter string new value, let it be new value. And it's really pretty simple. I have to assign new value to my text. Hope it would work. And the last thing here is to pass a parameter to this function. There are a few ways how to do that, and for example, we can specify the name for this input. I think something like text input. Let it be my text input. And let it be my text input value. So that's exactly the way how to handle user inputs. I hope it would work. Build is okay. And let's try hello.angular 1, 2, 3. Yep, it works. Hello guys, just change event and it works. So the last thing I'd like to pay attention to here is how does it really works. It's 11th slide in our presentation, and let me go here. For example, if you have any event that is declared in DOM API, like change for input, or maybe like click or key up, mouse up, everything from DOM API. In Angular we don't work directly with this event. We have I think you have noticed we have something like a wrapper, because here I don't type change on change. Yep, I typed change in braces. What does it mean? What does it mean? It means only thing that Angular has its own wrapper. Has its own wrapper for every DOM event, and Angular do it to provide proper change detection for us. For example, when user when everything anything when anything for example click event, Angular uses its own wrapper to get this event, and before it would be handled by any logic, Angular will fire change detection mechanism to keep our templates up to date. It's a huge separate theme how does change detection works, but to be simple, uh, the most important thing for change detection is to take all these bindings, for example text here, to go to the component, take new values of fields, for example, not hello.angular for text field, but new value, that we got from our input, and Angular go back to the template and update the text with new input. That's exactly the thing. Why do we need change detection? So now I think we will take a short break for about 2, 3, 5 minutes, and I'd like all of you to try the same. Please create an input. Please use the bindings here, and create a pretty simple logic. Handle change from your input, and put new value from user input into some field, and then make sure that it's properly rendered in your template, for example in this block or something like that. Please do that. If anybody have a problem, just check out step 2 on handle change. Check out this branch, and I hope it would be okay for you. If anybody is already okay with it, please write something to the chat, or maybe to the question box. Let me know that we can go on. I think it would not be a big problem for you, but please, if you have any problem, please ask our mentors to help you. Let's wait a few minutes. And you're ready, guys, please let me know. I don't want to keep silence, and let me explain one more time. If you don't need any explanation, and if you're already okay with it, if you are ready, please let me know, guys. So the thing we need to do here is to take our app component that is already here. It's already prepared for you. Add input. It's a simple HTML input. Add bindings, two bindings. Bind name, a name field from app component to input value, and bind the same name to just to be displayed just as a text. Yeah, and that's it. And the last thing is to handle change events from input using a sample custom method called handle name change, for example, or anything else, up to you. And the only thing is done by this method is to update value in your component. Okay, are you ready, guys? Can we go on? Please let me know, guys. Okay, okay. I think we can go on. If if somebody needs more time, please let us know, or just check out the next step. The next thing, step 3 for us, is a component. What is a component? Component is a pretty simple abstraction. It's required to encapsulate some logic, maybe repeatable logic. For example, we will work on cat component today. We will do a sample cat. A cat will have a picture like this, and a name, and a name, and maybe something else later. And today we will try to build a cat village, where cats can live and communicate with each other, take any food from the village, and something like that. So I think we can start. I think we can start. Few words regarding the topic that we have just discussed about templates, about bindings. You see that basically we have two layers, a component and a template. We have HTML in template, okay, and we have a logic here in component class, and property bindings goes from component to templates, and event bindings and events itself go from template to component. So let's go to the step 3. Let's go to the step 3 and create a simple component. Sorry, I have to check out the branch and take an asset. Take an asset. So let's go back. In our web folder, where we have index.html, main Dart, our favicon, let's create a new folder called assets, and let's put a cat there. Cat, please. Cat. Oh. Okay. Okay. Let's do it later. Let's do it later. First of all, let's create a separate folder for our component. For our components, we will have a lot of components in our application. So let it be components, and let's build a cat component. I'd like to have a separate folder for this component for a component class, cat dot, for a template, something like cat HTML, and for styles cat CSS. It's pretty simple structure, template, styles, and component class. So let's create our component from very beginning. Let it be the cat. We need our cat to have a name. Let it be string name. For example, let it be Tom. Our cat will have name Tom. Next, we need a component annotation, and we need to input Angular core here, or just Angular, for example. For now, I think it doesn't matter. And let's take a look what is in component annotation. As we already discussed, we have really a lot of fields here, like template, like selectors, and so on and so on. And it's basic dot syntax for a constructor. Actually for every function, every method, when you have braces here, it means all of these params are optional, and you are able to specify or not. And actually, we need, I think, few params. First of all, selector cat, of course. Then we need again a template like cat HTML. Oh, sorry, cat HTML from here, and that's it. I think that's it. Let it be. Let's have something here. For example, cat name. Hello there. I am cat name. Same binding syntax as we had before in app component. Name, I think we'll see Tom here. And I think that's enough. And now let's include our cat here to the main component, app component. Let's type our selector as we specified here, cat. Go here, cat. And I think that's it, or maybe not. Let's try. Let's go to our application, and oh, it works. And actually we have a cat here, but we have nothing inside. Looks strange, really. Let's try to understand how does it work. It works pretty simple. When Angular tries to compile your template, it takes it row by row, and when it's the cat tag, it's our custom tag. Angular actually don't know what does it mean, because here we are at app component level, and app component know nothing about cat component. So the very important thing here that we have to do is to include our cat component, cat, to the app component. Let's do that. We can do that with a pretty simple construction using directives array, like this. And of course, we have to import it. So now we have included cat component into our app component, into our application component. And when Angular faced this tag, a cat, our custom tag, it have to render it with this get component, with this template. Hello there, I'm Tom. Let's try. And yes, he is Tom. That's great. The next thing I'd like to try is to have two cats. Okay, let it be one cat, the first cat, and the second cat. Two cats. Okay. I said that component is something repeatable. So okay, I have a Tom here and Tom there. Two Toms. I think all of you would like to specify name from outside, okay? Because it's really great that we can reuse a component, but it's it's absolutely useless if you not to pass any properties, our custom properties from app component level to the cat component. And so in order to do that, to try that, let's imagine that our cat have an input like cat like name, and let it be, for example, Tom here. Oh, sorry. Tom here, and let it be something like maybe Oliver here. Two cats. Okay. And it's exactly the same syntax as we had before for a value field for our input. We also have square brackets. It means that here we work with our custom property for a cat component. And it also means that we use change detection here because Angular use change detection to update bindings to update inputs and outputs like this input, like this output, and so on. And the last thing we have to specify is we have to mark our field as input. Let it be input. And I think that's enough. Let's remove Tom from here. I think that's enough. And yes, now we have two cats. We have Tom here, and we have another cat named Oliver here. That's great. Now, again, let's take a few minutes. I want you to do something like this. Please try to create your own component from the very beginning. Create the folder for your components. Create a folder for the cat component, separate folder, and put some files here, a separate file for component class, cat class, and a separate file for the template. Please do that, and let me know if you're okay, guys. I really need your feedback. We have spent about 40 minutes already, but I don't have any feedback.
Maybe we can like if anyone have any feedback, we can unmute you and you can like, say something. You can raise your hand if you have any.
Yeah, sure. When we have a short pause, I'd like to answer about why we have something here, or why we cannot just write Tom here. If we write something like Tom, Tom would be a variable. So it looks like string Tom, something like that. We don't use variables here. We use values. So we need to or something like that. So okay, I think we can go on. Of those of you who have not created a component, I suggest to check out step 3, and you will get something like this. Sorry, what's the problem? Yep, sure. Something like this, I think. Okay, yes. We'll have a cat. We can add an asset relative to our web assets folder. And we will have an image, we will have some label and a button. So let's build the cat village. Let's go to the next step. Let's build a component container. Please check step 4 here. I think that's the biggest step for us in the first part. We'll try to do that, and the break will be very soon after we finish. So one more time, let's create cat village component. Cat village. Let's create cat village component. We need cat village dot here. We need a cat village template here. Cat village template. Oh, sorry. Cat village HTML show. Let me create a class called cat village. Let it be a component also. Component. Let it be component angle. Let it have selector like cat village, and let it have a template like cat village HTML. Cat village HTML. So let our cat village have all cats from our app component from here to here, cat 1, cat 2, cat 3, 4 cats. Oh, okay, it's all binded to the same name. Okay, let it be just one cat. Let's move cat component from app component to cat village to set up some hierarchy. Okay, and let the app component to contain just a wrapper, just a cat village, and let's encapsulate all logic that we have in our application in cat village components. So let's go here. We need a name for our cats. For example, maybe okay, string Tom. String name Tom. Okay, we have a cat here, and I hope it would be okay. Let's try. Oh, sorry. And let me add a label here. Let it be something like cat village. It doesn't work. I think it doesn't work. Oh, sure. I have to add cat village here to the app component. So, great. It's really interesting. It's strange. Please, yep, sure. I specified cat village as template, and it's exactly the template I have specified. So, sure, I need a template URL here. Sorry. That's the next step. So we have a Tom here, and let's have a few cats, maybe cat1 name and cat2 name Oliver, and let's have cat1 name and cat2 name from this uppercase. The next thing I'd like to try is to let our cat do meow. Meow. When I press the meow button, I want to have something at cat village level. So okay, how to do that? We already know how to add input to our components, and let's do add output. I think if we have input, we probably would have outputs. Output in Angular Dart works on streams. Type streams. For example, let it be string in the streams called. Let it be on meow. Let it be on meow. Meow. Let it be on meow. So first of all, let's spend a few minutes and talk what is a stream. So we are here. If you go back to slides, we are now at slide 15. We're trying to build a cat village with some cats. And let's take a look to slide 17 and to the streams. What is a stream? Basically, it's an abstraction that could manage a set of events. Each stream have some consumers and some producers. Something like, for example, like component, like service, like any Dart code can add something to our stream, and all consumers will be notified and will get the object that was put to the stream, for example, event, and the consumer will be able to handle it properly. So if someone already someone is already familiar with Angular, with TypeScript Angular, you know that output are built using event emitters in TypeScript Angular, but here with the streams. And to create a stream, we need stream controller to control our stream. So let it be meow controller, sorry, stream controller, string, something like this. We just create a new stream controller. It requires .async package, and the main thing here is that our meow stream can be get from this controller. So we have to type something like this. Please pay attention to this construction. Actually, it looks like this new stream controller, but new keyword, you know, is unnecessary in Dart, and we can leave it this way. Angular Dart provides you, sorry, of course, Dart itself provides you an opportunity to define a few constructors, different constructors for your class, and Steam controller, of course, it's a class, and we have a broadcast constructor here. What does it mean? It means that when we will have our cat component in our village, using broadcast controller, we will have an ability to have a lot of consumers. For example, we can okay, let's take a look to it later. And first of all, let me listen this string, and then I will try to explain what does broadcast mean. So let's try to handle on meow. So our cat has on meow output, and that displays that where we have our cat. So let's type on meow here. Custom handler like handle meow like this. Handle meow for the Tom and handle meow for the Oliver. For Tom and Oliver, and specify it our meow here. As cat village, we'd like to hear what was meow from a cat. So let's expect here a string. Let it be value. Let it be value, and let's print it. Let's print it to web console. Where value. Okay. The last thing I have to do here is to call this controller and add something to my stream. I have implemented this part, it's okay, but I still have nothing that can add something to the stream. So let's add a void. For example, let it be do meow sorry, do meow, and here we have to call our meow controller add a string let it be a string, or let it be meow from cat name. In that, when it's really easy to use interpolation, when if I would try to do something like this in JavaScript, for example, I have to write meow from name. Yep, you know this construction, but in that it's much simple. I just write $sign and then name variable, this variable, and that's enough. Meow from name, and the most interesting thing, I'm able to write anything I want after interpolation. So meow from name. And the last thing I have to do is to call do meow from anywhere from my cat template. Of course, I already created meow button. It's here, and I have an output, standard output click standard event, and let our component call do meow on button click. So I have an error here. I have an error, and an error is that I expect a string here in my handle meow methods in cat village. But when I create a binding for on meow stream, is it stream? Okay. I don't I don't specify any params. So the important thing here is to handle the string, handle, of course, the string that would be added to the stream. So again, when I press a button, I will get the string as a value that would be passed here to the stream and then to my consumers. So in Angular, you can specify something like $sign and event here. It's a default variable available in a template scope for all events. And I think that's enough. Build is it. And let's try. When I press meow here, I expect to see something like meow from Oliver here in my console. So meow from Oliver and meow from Tom, and really it works. That's great. That's great. The last thing here I'd like to implement is I've switched to the next branch. It's branch 4, step 4, component container. We are here for now. And I don't want to spend a lot of time for creating this part. So let me just explain how does it work. I tried to create an array, something like array. It's called list in Dart. For village events, and the thing that we stopped on is that we want to see events from our cat, from these outputs, from on-mail outputs. We want to see them in something like in a log in this village events. And the exactly one thing we have to do for that is to handle on-mail stream for each cat and handle this meow using event variable and add this variable to our list. So it should work. And the next thing, it's just a technical thing. It doesn't really matter for our workshop today. So just you can just check out the step and see what I'm talking about. We have to show this event somewhere. So please take a look to this section. Village event is our list or array, or maybe a list. So we have here we have an end-if directive that works such way that it's check if this if a village event is empty, if is it true, and if it is true, so it will render this block, this diff, it will render it. If not, so nothing happens. And we have also one more block here. We have this template, and if in square brackets adds a special syntax for template. And it works such way. So if village events is not empty, so Angular will render everything inside a template. If for div it works that exactly this div will be rendered. So for template it works that just a content will be rendered, but template we will never see templates in our inspector. So this is the place that we have stopped before the break. So let's go on. Let's see how it works. That's our cat village, and that's our bottom part, this part of what happened today, this label, and now we see exactly this div nothing yet. Cat are sleeping. And when I press meow button, what would happen? I press meow. We say, yo, we see meow from Tom, and Tom component, it's here. We handle meow. We add meow from Tom to village events here. Village events are no longer empty, so this condition is true for now, and we are going to display all divs, all events for our village. ngIf and ngFor are important directives for if you use Angular, so don't forget to declare them here, and that's exactly the way how do they work. So I hope that's okay. Let's try to go on. I see a question from Petr about the schedule and the next break. I think we don't have a lot of stuff to do, so I hope we don't need any more breaks. If you really need a break, please let us know and we'll try to find a time. But I think we will finish about in hour and maybe in hour and a half. So let's finish it. Okay, let's go to the next step. The next step is step 5, life cycle. Let's take a brief overview here. The main idea is it's a bit separate part of our today workshop. It's we will not use lifecycle hooks later, but just I think you should know about them. Angular provides a rich lifecycle hook system. It looks like this. Component lifecycle looks following. First of all, when Angular by itself creates new component, first of all it's called constructor. It's called constructor, and after that it have some hooks like ng on change. It's for now it's deprecated, and we will use ng after change, ng on init, and ng do check and on destroy. Really, I think you will need ng on init, you will need ng after change and after unit and on destroy. Other hooks are rare. I think you probably will not face them anywhere. So let's add a bit of magic and let our component to implement a few interfaces. The first is on init. Second is after change, as I've said, and next is after view init, and the last one is on destroy. If we try to look into the interfaces, we see that all of them have just one method. For example, on init has ng on init method, and Angular will call this method by itself when component will be initted or, for example, destroyed. Let's create for overrides. Let's create this handler for these hooks, and let's use our village events and add something like a simple logs here. Village events add, of course, add. ng after unit, and let's just take a look how that works. I think we will not use it anymore, but it's a really useful thing because a lot of things that you need to init for your component you can place here at ng on init handler. A lot of things that you have to do with something from your view. Maybe when you maybe you want to directly access your document object model for your component. You can do it here in G after view init hook when view is already initted. It's already in DOM, and you can do it here. After change hook works every time when our inputs changed. So if, for example, if we would like to rename our village or our cat, maybe we will get this hook. And on destroy hook is very useful if you have any subscriptions in your component. And to avoid memory leaks, you have to cancel the subscriptions in this hook. So let's try. And now, yep, we have a few messages in our village events. First of all, we have ng after changes. Sorry guys, okay, a few steps back, I was here. I've talked about lifecycle hooks, and we take a look to our cat village component and a few lifecycle hooks for the component. The first one is ng on init. It's called when our component surprise is initted. The second one, and this hook is important for you if you want to set up something in your component, for example, any subscriptions or anything else. The second is ng after change. It fight every time when your input changes. For example, when we will change village name, this hook will be fired. And the two last ones is ng after unit. It's useful if you are going to work with the document object model for your component directly without Angular, and it's called when the DOM is already ready to use, and you can find some elements inside your DOM, and you can subscribe to some events, so select some elements and so on. And the last one, ng on destroy, is useful if you work with any subscriptions. For example, if you subscribe to anything, I don't know, to any streams, to avoid memory leaks, you have to unsubscribe from your subscriptions and remove them from memory, and ng on destroy is exactly the same place. It's exactly the place you have to do that. So how does this magic work? It's simple. Your component should implement a few interfaces, for example, ng on init. It contains just one method, ng on init, and our component override it. And other like ng after unit, also just one method, and Angular will call this method, and it will work. So let's go back here, and once again, we can see that the first hook is ng after change. It was called when cat village name here with these hooks. We live in cat village component. It's called when village name was switched from null to Catsville village. Okay, it's called again for now, and one more hooks on init, and after units we are called later. So okay, and going back 5 minutes, I started to talk about models because I think probably you are not going to work with a cat at all in your application, in your real application, and of course you are not going to work with hard-coded cats here. So we have to create something like a model for a cat, and we are here with this model. So a cat model is an immutable object. We have to define a class with 2 fields, ID and name. Let it be final to make our cat immutable. And when I was creating the constructor, Evgeny said that you have lost me 5 minutes ago. So let's go back to the constructor. That's the way how we can create a sample constructor for any class in Dart. It can have a body. We can do anything here. For example, print name, maybe. But this syntax allows us to assign ID, to assign first param to ID directly, and the second param directly to the name. I think that's enough to create. That's enough to create a cat. That's a model that can be used for our application, for next interaction. So let's go. We now are on step 6, model. You can check out this branch and check what we do here. Let's go to our cat village and create a cats array, final cats. Let it be cat, list of cats. Let it be new cat of ID 1 and name Tom, and ID 2 and name Oliver. Exactly the same as we had before. And maybe this third, I don't know any name for a cat. Maybe third cat. Sorry, I have a poor fantasy today. Let's remove unnecessary new keywords, and let's go to our template, and once again let's use ng4 as we use it here. ng4, pretty simple syntax. Let cat of cats, let's cat of cats, and we have to specify cat name. Here we have a cat variable in the context of our ng4, and each cat has its own name. So now I think we can get 3 cats. Let's check. Yes, we have Tom, Oliver, and the third cat. Okay. The next thing that I'm going to do is step 7, to move this logic outside from the cat village component. It's maybe it looks okay to keep data, to keep state right here, to generate state like right here, but I'd like to create something like services directory services folder, and let it be cat service dot. Let it be pretty simple. Cat service, just one method. Terrible cat get cats. In that, we have an abstract class called iterable for all iterable classes like list, like map, like anything else. And let's work with this abstraction. And let's return this cats from cat village. Let's pick it up and move to our cat service. So return this array. And we are going to try to get cats from the service from in our component. So cats are no longer final. Let it be iterable cat, something like that. And we are going to ng on it, as I've said before. We need to fetch data from our service in the proper place where we can do it is ng on init hook. So we, for example, it's not a final solution, but let's create a service, final service, new cat service. There's a constructor and new keyword is not necessary. So let's remove it, and we have a service now, and let's get to be an iterable that we get from our service. And let's go to the cat. It's a challenge for me to create a false cat. Let it be a false cat. If anybody have an idea how can we name third cat or false cat, your favorite names or name of your cats, please type it in chat in our question box, and let's remove them. It's not good to name them such way. So let's try, and I think for now, yes, we can see 1, 2, 3, 4 cats, and all of them works fine. So for now, we are on step 7, and we are going to step 8, and to solve such kind of problem like service creation. In this case, cat service is pretty simple. We just have an instance of this service. We have to create the instance of the service, sure. But what if cat service is a little bit more complicated? What if it will require, for example, 1, 2, 5, or even 10 params here, like 1, 2, 3, for example, dependency 1, dependency 2, other service. Are we okay with it? Are we going to create a cat service by ourselves? Or maybe another case, what if cat service have a cache for our cats? Maybe when we get our cats from our backend, we would like to store them as a local variable in our cat service right here. Like like wait a minute, please. Cats cache, and what if we would like to this cache to be shared between all of our components, between all of parts of our application? Of course, in case when we create the service by hands each time, it will not work. And Angular provide a really great and powerful mechanic here, and it's called dependency injection. I think many of you have already heard how does it work. Let me explain in a few words. Let's go back to the presentation. DI works something like this. We'll try to take a detailed look to this later. For this step, we'll try to realize how DI work at all. Basic DI, basic dependency injection, as a component, as a consumer, as any consumer, we declare that we need an something. We need a service. We need an abstraction. We need really an abstraction, and we don't care how Angular creates a real implementation of this abstraction and how Angular will provide us with the implementation with a real instance of a service or anything else. Really, we don't care. And in the code here, we just say that we, as get_village component, would have a final get service as a field of our class, and we declare that it have to be instantiated in there for our constructor. So we have to add a constructor here. And I hope it would work. Pay attention that we specified our params here, get service, exactly like we have already worked with our cat model. So when something we'll call new cat with ID in name, ID and name will be filled with values, and in this case, the same behavior when somebody, I assume Angular, will call new cat village component. Angular have to provide our component with a service, with a concrete instance of the service, and we, as get village component, will get the service right here. So the last thing that we have to do is to use service injected by Angular and remove this line for manual creation of cat service. So okay, it probably should work, but I'm not sure, because as maybe as you know, dependency injections rely on DI container, and Angular have to know at what level does Angular have to create cat service. For example, for now, let it be here, and we have to declare our cat service to be here in providers. It's a basic example. A few minutes later, we will take a detailed example of DI, and we'll discuss what is provided section, why is it here, maybe in cat component is okay, or app component is also okay. So we will discuss it, but for now, let it be here. And let's try. Cats are still here. Everything still works fine. Yes, it still works, and we have just tried how does dependency injection work for Angular. So for now we are at step 8. You can check it out and try by yourself. Do you need a short break, guys, to repeat after me to create your own model, your own service, and inject it? I think we can spend about maybe 2, 3, or 5 minutes for you to repeat the steps. If we can go on, please let us know, and we will go on. If you have any question, please still you are able to write it here in question box, and our mentors team will help you. Please let me know if you are okay and we can go on. So okay, let's wait for a few minutes.
We can give a couple of minutes to work on the service. What do you think?
Okay, let's work on the service. Okay.
Peter is writing. I lost myself. Continue anyway.
Sorry, Peter. I'll try to repeat in a few words. We are here in our cat village component. We need some cats. We need some cats to display them here. The proper way to get these cats is a cat service. It's a separate class that is placed here: components, models, and service. So cat service. Let this service have just one method, get cats, and let it return 4 cats. When we create cat service and call get cats, we will get this 4 cats. Cat itself is it's our model that we created in neighbor folder. It's a cat model with two fields, ID and name. So it seems to be okay. And here in our cat village component, let's go back. We ask Angular, please, you are the framework, please provide us with this service. We are just a component. We don't know how to deal with service creation. Please give us cat service because you can. We specify here, you can. And Angular said, okay, guys, here is your service. It's already instantiated. You can get your cats from here. So it works this way. We get cats, take these cats, go to our template, and using ng4 display these cats in our application. So, okay, for those of you who is okay for the steps, I think we can go on. For those of you who have problems, don't worry, guys. Just check out step 8 and try to understand what's happened. So we are going to step 9. And I have an interesting behavior of a Zoom room in the office. I think I'll probably will be offline soon. Guys, can you hear me for now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Interesting. Okay, please let me know, Evgeny, please let me know in Slack, maybe on other channels, if connection will be lost. I hope it would be okay. Okay, let's go to the next step. We have to try step 9 and create prepare abstract service. Why? Because of course in a real application, in real life, you will probably never provide data data from some service. So I think let's first of all let's create a separate implementation of cat local. Let it be a local cat service out, and let's move this logic here, local cat service, and let's the cat service looks let it be an interface. Let it be an interface on abstract class. So working with this abstraction, we want to exactly the one thing. We want to declare the contracts for our real implementation of the service. In the real life, we will going to make an HTTP request or any endpoint to our server to fetch cats from the server. So in terms of our interface, it will look like we will expect a method get cats, and we expect this method to return something like iterable cats. It's still iterable. Oh, sorry, iterable cat, of course, iterable cat. But we expect that cats would be returned synchronously, and so such way as we send some request to backend, wait for a time, wait for a while, and then get cats back. So in Dart, we works with future class for that, and we will check later how it will work. In a simple word, we expect that a real cat service will provide get cats method that will return a future, and a future itself that it would be resolved will return an iterable of cat. Please pay attention to this point. We'll try to implement the concrete cat service for now, but the main idea is that we are for now we are working with future of iterable of cat. So let our local cat service implement cat service. Implement this interface. Let it be future get cats, and since this method expects to return future, we can no longer return just a plain list. So we have to return something like future, value, something like that. It's just a workaround for a local service. In real life, I assume you will not use such this approach, but for hard-coding data, I think it will be okay. And now let's go back to our cat village. And now you see that our cats as iterable cats, and it cannot our future from get cats from the service is cannot be more assigned to cats as iterable of cat. And the next thing we have to do is to create a handler. Let it be a private method like int cats, and let make a small refactoring. Let me move public method handle meow here. Let me move private method init cats to the end here, and let this method make the following thing. We will move assignment to this method, and of course, since it's future, we have to add async await here. It's exactly the same syntax as for JavaScript, async await, or of course we can use then syntax with a callback, but I think async await is better and looks better, and for now it will be resolved when future will be resolved, and cats will be iterable of cats from the service. So the last thing here is to call init cats from our ng on init method. So let's try. Cat service. Yes. WebDev said that cat service, since now it's abstract class, and Angular as dependency injection container for this component cannot resolve cat service as a real class. So we as developer have to specify what implementation of cat service should be used here. So let it be, let's use following syntax. We have really it's array of providers, and we have a class provider here, class provider of class cat service. We have to provide cat service class using local cat service. Local cat service. What would happen? Angular, when we came to Angular from our cat component and say, oh, Angular, please give us a cat service. Angular as a framework will go to DI container for this component and say, guys, the component asked me for a cat service. Do you have one? And it will find cat service here, and it will find that we have to use
Okay, Pavel, looks like we lost you again. It happens. We lost you again. We lost you. Okay, we have to. I believe we have to remember on where we are to ask Pavel to continue from this spot. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand or you can post them in.
Yep, I'm back. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, now we can hear you. We can see you.
Sorry for that. A lot of interesting issues with internet connections. Sorry, I switched to hotspot. I hope it would be okay.
Okay.
So I finished with this provider. I said that when Angular asked for cat service, we said the Angular, please use this class, use this implementation for creating your cat service. And now let's add fifth cat. Once again, if you have any ideas how can we name this cat, all of these cats, please let me know. I can just imagine Tom and Oliver. And let's check. Yes, we have 5 cats for now, and that's exactly the way. How does dependency injection work for abstraction and real implementation? So one of the last thing for now, we are finished step 9, and we are going to start step 10. We are going to create an HTTP cat service. Let it be HTTP cat service, and let's take a look to this JSON. What's this? Oh, please. Yes, it works. If you pay attention to my console, it's a raw JSON that I've saved to Monkey.io, and it returns where is content type? Sorry, it returns application JSON. Is a JSON. We can see it in preview. It for cats or Charlie and Smokey. That's exactly that I tried. Can you post the link to chat? Yep, sure. That's the link. And you can always find it here in the slides, in slide 22, in slide 22. So I've posted it to the chat. So let's call this endpoint. Let's create HTTP cat service dot, and of course it's would be a class HTTP cat service implements cat service. Implements cat service. I have to import cat service here and implement all missing overrides. And for now, I have to write something like I need an HTTP package from Angular. So let's write something like HTTP get something like this, and I have to import. Sorry, I don't remember this syntax. I have to check. It's http dot http. So okay, here we are. I have just checked out the step 10. You can do the same. And let me clean up the code. Sorry, I have something untrackable. Okay, that's it. So we still have a local cat for 2 cats in this branch. Okay, Tom and Oliver, and the separate implementation of HTTP service that make an HTTP call that make a GET request to this endpoint. It will return a future response. We will take a response here, and the next thing we have to do is to decode this JSON as iterable. If you will take a look, it really is iterable. We have a square bracket here. It's iterable. Okay, and we have decoded using JSON decode from the package.convert. And the last thing, when we here we get iterable of map cats, actually is iterable of map of key and value. So here we just have to create iterable of cat. Cat is still our model. This one or this one, it doesn't matter. Let me delete the unnecessary code. Cat is still a model. We have to create a cat with ID and name, and that's the way how to do it. We have to take the next JSON from this iterable and call its field ID, call its field name, and create a cat. So it looks pretty simple. And the next thing for us is to ensure that we, as Cat Village, can provide HTTP implementation of Cat service instead of our local Cat Village service. Let me have the both providers here and comment out HTTP implementation. Let me check it if it's work okay. So okay, we have two cats. It works fine. And now the last thing that I'd like here before a short break is to remove local implementation and give Angular HTTP implementation. And let's take a look how would it work. Let's open network tab in our DevTools. Let's take a look to XML HTTP request tab, and we see that, yep, we have four cats, exactly same cats that are listed here in our JSON: Tom, Oliver, Charlie, and Smokey. Yeah, four cats, great. And that's our JSON, Monkey IO, and it works. Okay. So for now, after 10 steps, we have created a simple application that have a simple hierarchy of components. App component as a wrapper, as a public component that can be used anywhere else, or it can be a host itself, no problem. It contains cat village components that encapsulate all the logic for our cats and their interactions. We have a cat component, and cat component is included in the cat village. They can interact with each other. Cat can do meow, and cat village can handle this meow and lists all village events, including meow and others here. And cats themselves are fetched from something like backend. We use cat service via dependency injection mechanism from Angular. We use get cats, and we have two implementation: local implementation for two cats and implementation of HTTP service. It looks this way. So I want you to do something same, and I think for now we will have a short break, maybe 2, 3, 5 minutes. Please do the same. Please make a service, make maybe local, maybe remote implementation, at least one. I suggest an HTTP implementation, HTTP service that will call remote endpoint, maybe the same, maybe your own, and try to return the cats from this endpoint to the component. Let's wait for a few minutes. Please ask questions if you have one. And please let me know if everything is okay, if we can go on. While you are coding, I'd like to say one more thing that really, actually, in real life, we probably will not organize our model this way. In real life, we will have something like that data transfer level model, that data transfer objects for cats. We will have a separate domain model for our cat, and here it API level, it would not be a service itself. I think it would be something like API class, and it would contains just method to call endpoint and to return future of DTOs of data transfer objects up to the domain level. And at the domain level, we would have something like a manager for our entities, maybe cat manager, and it would call API level cat's API, for example, and convert lists of DTOs to lists of domain models. And here at component level, at state management level, we will work with first of all domain level models for domain cats, and we will not work with raw models here, because it's really it's two different levels. And I think the most right example here is that if it would be just one model as we have for now, and if somebody at backend side would rename name to cat name, what we have to do, we have to go here to our model, we have to go everywhere that we use name field from our cat. It's here in template, cat name, and many other places. And it's I think it's not okay for us, but of course we have to go here at deserializer and take cat name from our JSON for now. And it's crazy. It's really a huge amount of work for a big project, and it's a good practice to split this to level. And in this case, we have to update the key just for domain level, just for data transfer level model, and our domain models would stay the same. So let me get it back. I don't see any questions or comments in chat, so I hope we can go on. If I hope it was enough time to read something like this, something like cat servers implementation, and we have two more steps up to the end. The short step is like imagine that all of these cats can not just meow, not just say meow, they want to eat something. They are alive, and they would eat. And let me add for each cat, let me add ask for food button. So it would be something like this. Oh, very short button. 50 pixels is not enough. Maybe 75. No. 18. Okay. Let's fix it. Let's fix it. 18 pixels. So okay. So now each cat has one more ability, one more button, ask for food. Let's do the same. Let's for food, let's add a new handler here. Void ask for food, and let's add a separate output on feed. Let it be on feed, and each time when our cat will get some food, we will fire a new event, and for example, feed controller thanks for food, something like this. Feed controller, of course, feed controller add thanks for food, for that food. Okay, it doesn't matter. Ask for food. Yeah, of course, sure, it is not working because we don't handle anything for this output. We called it on feed. So let's go into cat village, handle now, and handle let it be handle cat event, because we have string here, we have a string here. Let it be just one handle cat event. Let it be here. So let's try. And I think we will switch to local implementation because Moki is no, okay, it's good enough. Okay, so ask for food. Oliver, Charlie, Smokey, they all asked for food, and it works fine. It was step 11, and let's go to the final step 12 to advanced dependency injection, and let's play around with providers. I said that we will take a look what does provider section means, where it should be, and how to work with it. So let's create one more service. Let it be food service dot, and let it have something like final initial food int in 100 portions of food. Let it be this way, and we as a cat would like to ask for some food. Let the method be called get food from the service. Let it return portions count, and when I as a cat ask for a food, current food level, no, food left. Let it be food left. When I as a cat ask for a food, I take some food from the food left. For example, food left, let it be food left and -2 portion of food, for example, and let's return 2 portions. I'm going to refactor the stuff for a while, sorry. And let's create a constructor, something like this, and let food left to be equal to initial food level. So when we or maybe Angular when we create the food service, exactly this instance of the service will have 100 portions of a food available. And let's eliminate magic numbers and static const int portion size. Let it be 2. Let it work this way. So how would it work? Oh, sorry. Of course, minus. Cool. What's the next? Me as a cat. I want to have a food service here. Final food service. As a cat, I'd like this service to be injected into the cat component. So I have a constructor for cat component and let it be injected here. And as a cat, I will ask for a food. For example, I will get food and let it be portions get. I don't know. I have, as a cat, I have an owner, and owner decides how big is a portion, and let it be 2. As a cat, I don't know how much food do I need. So portions get the first thing here, and the second is we need to know how many portions of food we still have in our food service. So we have food left field here. It's public. It's not a good practice. It would be great to make it private and create something like a getter. Let's do that. By the way, it does not cost a lot for us, I hope. And int of food left let's do something like that. Okay, order doesn't matter for us for now. So food left is now a public getter. So as a cat, I can see final portions left as a food service, food left. And let's say to our cat village that me as a cat, Tom, Oliver, or anybody else, thanks for portions count. Thanks for portions. We still have more portions left, and it looks simple, and I hope it should work. But the last question here is what about providers section? We have a providers here in Cat Village. So okay, let's create the same here. Let's type providers. Let's type food service, and so that's it. I hope it would be okay. As a component, I'd like Angular to inject food service to me, and I specify that food service is provided. So let's try. Okay, let's ask for food. My name is Oliver. Great, thanks for 2 portions. Let's add portions. Okay, portions. portions. Thanks for 2 portions. We still 98 left. I'm still Oliver, and Oliver will get these portions. Will still have 98 portions. It's interesting by itself. I think because we found another interesting point. We have a few time to pay attention to it. Let's stop with a debugger. Print locate. It's another interesting thing for Angular here. Let's take a look. I think as a cat. By the way, you can debug that code right in the Chrome. Just find the components, for example, cat components, as I have just done right now. Set a debugger, and let's try. 1, 2, 3, 4 cat. Okay, and interesting thing, you see when I ask for food, that when I did something, Angular creates all cats again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have still 98 portions of food left. To prevent this, we have still have exactly the same cats, and Angular have a track by function. Track by let it be. I think I can just type something like this. Oh no. It's interesting. Wait a minute, please. Track by syntax in Angular. I don't remember it. Sorry, it's interesting. What does track by use? What is used for? It's used to specify. It's used to specify. Sorry, track by Angular dot. By Angular dot. Track by ID. Interesting. Why it is not work? Track by. Okay. Track by function. Let it be something like object O. Great. It's a fiasco, guys. I forgot the syntax of track by in Angular dot. Sorry, one more minute, please. The main idea here is to let Angular know that we use exactly the same object, and Angular, especially ng4 directive, can track object, for example, by ID. And let's take a look into it. Track by. It's really interesting. Track by ID. Why it is not working? I don't know. Okay, track by ID, and let's track by ID be object as cat ID. It's not. So okay, sorry for that. I really don't remember. It's a bad joke, but I don't remember how this joke. So the main idea here is when we can set up check by properly, we have we can switch to this branch. Maybe it will be okay. No, it will be not. But anyway, we will have a cat and the food service. We will have a food service here. Sorry guys, I'm a bit frustrated about checkby. So the last thing we have take a look on is food service here in a cat. So me as Angular, when I am asked to provide something to this cat, I provide this service exactly to this cat. So each time when Angular create new cat component, it will create its own instance of food service, and every time we'll have a new food left, a new initial food count, and food left will be 100, 100, 100, and 100 for each cat, for each new instance of a cat. And to prevent this behavior, we have to take a look into DI container, one of the last slides. When we work with our cat, is let this black frame to be our cat as DI container. Each cat have its own implementation, but when we have many cats, we need a single instance of our food service, and DI container in this case should be their parent cat village. So in this case, we have to provide food service here at the level above in the provider list for cat village. Let's remove it from our cat component, and let's make sure that it's here, and let's go back to our cats and find it. Wait a bit for mocking. So okay, um, and now I hope that when Tom asks for food, we have 98 portion of food more. Now, when Oliver asks for food, you see that we have 96 portion, and so on, so on, so on. Our cats have eaten a lot, and we have 78 portion left for now, and that's because we have moved our class provider for food service at the level above to our parent component, to cat village component. So now we have only one instance of a food service for all of our cats for the whole village. And that's interesting because before we have each cat had their own instance of food service, and food was not shared between our cats. So it's step 12. It's the last step for us, and I think we are ready to finish. For now, we have 7 minutes left up to 4 p.m. And I'd like all of you to try something like this. Please implement the provider or just check out the last branch with step 12 and try to move food provider from cat village to the cat from the cat to cat village and play around with it and look what how the behavior of our cats of the food service, how the behavior will change. Please try it, and while you're working on it, I would like to wrap up our way for now. After this 3 hours, what do we get? We get a simple application once again with a simple hierarchy of components with a cat village that contains a few cats. Cat village can pass some state to cat component. Cat component can fire some events to be handled by cat village component. State is for now. State is right here in our cat village component, and for this workshop, I think it's okay. And it's managed by cat service. Cat service is an abstract service that have two implementation, our local implementation with just 2 cats and our HTTP implementation based on JSON from Moki.io. And we have a separate model for our cat, and when we make an HTTP call to the JSON, when we deserialize our cats from our fake backend, we pass the state to the cat village component. Cat village pass it to the cats, and it works. And one more thing here is that we can play with food service. Each cat would like to have some food, and we can give them such ability. Each cat can ask for food, can ask us for food, and food provider, food service that is provided for the whole village will provide them with the food. So I think that's it. Are you okay, guys? Do you have any questions? I think we are going to wrap up our workshop. Please complete your complete your project. Please finish coding. Make last changes. Ask last questions, and of course, it's not about Angular, and I'd like to say that we definitely, if you have more time, we would like to talk about maybe state management in Angular, about Redux implementation, Dart implementation of Redux, and how would it work with Angular Dart and state management in Angular Dart. We would talk about separate labels for data transfer objects, domain models, and so on. And maybe we'd like to take a more detailed look into dependency injection, or maybe ng-zone and change injection mechanism of Angular that is really powerful and amazing. So there are really a lot of topics that are not covered, but I hope that all basic things were discussed for these 3 hours. And if you once again, if you have any question, please let us know. I hope it was useful for you, and I think that's it for now. Thank you, guys.